Hello, my name is Duff McCourt. I'm a health science journalist, and I'm joining you on behalf of Immunize Canada. Today, I'm bringing you the story of Madeline Rosemary Mallett, a centenarian polio survivor from Nova Scotia. Madeline was kind enough to speak with me about what it's been like to live with post-polio syndrome for nearly a century.
Oh, I was born in 1918, so I'm no spring chicken. I'm 101 until July 31st. July 31st is my birthday. That's when I'll be 102. I was about 2 years old when I got sick, so it's been with me that long. I was at the age 2, or in that area, and I was walking, and I got sick. And when I recovered from that, I went back to creeping, and I had to learn to walk all over again. And it was diagnosed that I had polio.
The year was 1920. There was no vaccine and no treatments for polio. Really, there were no effective preventative measures at all. And, much like in the current COVID pandemic, asymptomatic carriers could spread the disease rapidly through a community. As we all today anxiously hope for the development of an effective vaccine against COVID-19, it's important to look back at how dramatically existing vaccines have changed the world for the better. Madeline's story is a necessary reminder of the dangers of a world without immunization. A world where vaccine-preventable diseases like polio cut millions of lives unnecessarily short and leave survivors with disability they may never fully recover from, even given 100 years.
Never fully recover. That sounds familiar. All my life, every time I put my right foot down and put pressure on it, I have had pain. I've lived with pain. But every once in a while I think, oh my gosh, it must be nice to walk along without feeling pain. Because every time I put my foot down, my right foot down, and put pressure on it, I do have some pain. But if you have pain all the time, it becomes part of you.
It's a refrain that comes up time and again as I speak with Madeline. This idea that the pain and disability she carries with her as a result of her polio have become an integral part of her. And after a century, it becomes difficult to imagine what it would be like to live without them. The pain Madeline feels today is the same pain she's been feeling since the time of her earliest memories.
I was born in Nova Scotia, and I was the first child out of a family of 6. And after me, there were 5 brothers, 5 boys. I was a lot by myself because all I had was brothers. And we were in a community. Now, we were over a mile from school and walked to school every day. And don't forget, there were no paved roads in those days. And we went home for lunch because no one stayed at school. The teacher didn't stay, and no one stayed at school. Everyone walked home for lunch. Every step with my right foot, I had some pain.
Madeline's journey with post-polio syndrome and its associated pain continued through her teenage years and into adulthood, though it did not stop her from living a full life. Madeline found work as a telephone operator, fell in love with an army officer named George, got married, moved to Ottawa and then Montreal, and had 4 healthy children. Though her doctors did suspect that it was latent polio injuries that required her to give birth by C-section. By the time Jonas Salk developed the first effective vaccine against polio at the University of Pittsburgh in 1955, it was much too late to help Madeline, who was in her late 30s at the time, and once again living in Ottawa.
But of course, I'd had polio much earlier than that. I think vaccines have been very important because I don't think you hear about polio injuries or limitations very much now.
Knowing that polio is vaccine preventable today, and having lived with the effects of the disease for so long, Madeline finds it hard to believe that anyone would hesitate to get immunized against every disease they could. It drives her especially mad to hear things like, they didn't have vaccines back then and people were okay, from people who have no memory themselves of how badly diseases like polio devastated lives and communities.
They didn't have vaccine before and they were okay. I say that business of they were okay. I don't think they were okay. Vaccines did come in, and I think now you don't hear anyone suffering from polio.
Madeline is grateful of the life she's had, despite its difficulties, and she makes it very clear when talking to me that she doesn't want to complain. She doesn't tell her story looking for pity. She tells it as a warning, so that people will not forget. Most days, you'll find Madeline happily laughing and socializing at her retirement community, where she regularly plays bridge and is still an avid reader. Though the pain is a daily reminder of the mark that polio has left on Madeline's life, she has not let it get her down.
If you've had polio, you don't forget it. I have pain every time I put pressure on the right foot, but I don't think polio every step. That could get boring. It hasn't been an easy life, but you have to put up with what you get.
Thank you for listening. On behalf of Immunize Canada, be safe, be healthy, and please speak with your healthcare provider to ensure that you and your children are up to date on all recommended vaccines. During this global pandemic, it's especially important that we all remember our collective responsibility towards public health.